And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be preparing all different types of sushi. We're going to be talking about a card drafting game called Sushi Go, which just got reprinted by Gamewright. It says 2 to 5 players. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes, I'd say. This says 15 minutes, maybe 15. It's a card drafting game where you're trying to do draft cards and get set collection and build some cool sushi and score some points. So I'll show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side, and I'll finally tell you what I think. Sushi Go is a card drafting game. You're going to get a certain amount of cards at the beginning of the rounds, depending on how many players there are. Essentially, you're going to be taking, these cards will be up in your hand, and you would select one of them to keep, and then you would pass all the rest of them to your neighbor to the left. I'll tell you what the cards do and how you're scoring it later, just to show you how it's played. So let's just say I keep this guy here, the dumpling, and I take all these, and I pass these to the neighbor to the left. This gets placed actually face down, because all those cards would have been in my hand. Once everybody has their card face down, everyone flips it up and reveals which card they've kept. I now will have 6 cards for my neighbor, just like everybody else does, and now I have 6 cards to choose from, and oh look, I've got some more dumplings, so I'll select one face down. I'll pass these 5 cards to my neighbor. Once everyone's done that, we'll flip it up, and so on and so forth, so that at the end, everybody will have 7 cards in front of them, and then we score. We play 3 rounds of this. The one who has the most cards, the most points at the end is the winner. Let's talk about how scoring works. At the end of each round, we're going to look at all the cards in front of people, and everyone's going to score. The Maki rolls score, let's see, there's 2 rolls here. Whoever has the most of these logos on any number of cards of Maki will get 6 points. The second place will get 3 points. If there's people tied, they share each of those points respectively, and they don't keep the remainder. So that's Maki roll. So you could have 2 of these cards with just 1 each on it, and somebody might have 1 card with 3 on it, and they could beat you. So it's the number of these Maki rolls. Dumplings. These are different points depending on how many you hold. 1, 3, 6, 10, and 15 points, depending if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of these in front of you at the end of the round. The tempura. It's worth nothing on its own, but if you have, for every 2 of them, they're worth 5 points. The sashimi is similar to that, where they're worth nothing unless you have at least 3 of them. For every set of 3, you get 10 points. Wasabi. Wasabi does nothing by itself, but it says next nigiri is ×3. There's 3 different types of nigiri cards. We have an egg nigiri, a squid nigiri, and a salmon nigiri. And we see that each of them are different points. We have 1, 2, and 3 points. If you were to have each one of these in front of yourself without wasabi, they'd be the face value of those points. If I have a wasabi card, which is no points on its own, the very next nigiri card that I put on top of the wasabi, we'll multiply it by 3, so this would be worth 3 points. Once 1 nigiri is on top of wasabi, I can't use this wasabi again. But if I had this on there instead of the egg nigiri, this would be worth 9 points. That's pretty good. The next one is the chopsticks. So when you have cards in front of you, you're always selecting 1 during the drafting round, you're passing the rest. If you have a chopsticks in front of you, even during the drafting round, so this is like not at the end, this is while everything's going on, you have this chopsticks card. Let's say you had played it in an earlier turn, this was the card you selected, and you have some cards in front of you. Well, maybe you wanted to select 2 different cards. For example, maybe you had, let's see, when someone passed you some cards the next round, there was both a wasabi and a squid nigiri in there. Normally you're only selecting 1 card at a time. Chopsticks allows you to swap for 2. So I can take these 2 cards, play them down, and then send the chopstick card along with the rest of the cards that I didn't take. So that allows me to take 2 cards instead of 1. So that's what the chopstick does. The pudding is the only one that happens at the end of the game. It doesn't score at the end of each round. After everyone scores, all the cards are going to go back in the discard pile except the puddings, because at the end of the game, whoever has the most puddings is getting 6 points. Whoever has the least pudding is getting minus 6 points. Same rules apply with tying. They split it and get rid of the remainder. And after that, so that would be 1 round of scoring, all those other things. The pudding gets done at the end. There's 3 total rounds played of scoring. And then whoever has the most points at the end, after you've done 3 rounds of scoring, and then the 1 end scoring of pudding, whoever has the most points at the end is the winner. All right, well, there's Sushi Go. Now, I had already played the first printing of this, but I couldn't get my hands on it because it sold out, and I already knew I really loved it. So I bought it from Gamewright. It's pretty cheap on Cool Stuff, actually. It just came back in stock. And this game, I really like it. This is a staple for every gamer's collection. I believe everyone should own this game because it is an introduction to drafting. And it's a mechanic that a lot of people aren't that familiar with outside of the gaming niche hobby. Families and friends that don't play games, they've probably never even heard of card drafting. And it's funny because even as simple as this game might seem to an avid gamer, it's like, oh yeah, it's just drafting, it's so simple. But yet there's enough depth there, enough fun to try to figure out which sets people are collecting. It's still got enough there that you'll have fun even though it's an introductory style game. The artwork's really cute, love it. But the cool thing is when you take people that don't know this, don't be astonished when it gets screwed up a little bit. Somebody's gonna have 4 cards, somebody has 3, and you forget that just taking one card, selecting it, and passing a deck of cards and waiting for the next one is more than most of these people have ever done before, and they get confused. So even as easy as it sounds, you might want to take it a little slow at first. But after playing this with my family, who also got confused on the drafting, they actually really liked it after they played it the first time, and we played it a few times since. So it's great entry-level drafting game, and then after this, you could maybe lead them down to 7 Wonders or something like that. But anyway, Sushi Go, great introductory game, should be in everyone's collection. The 2-player, doesn't really work well. I'll never play this with 2 players. You really need 3 at least to play this game, 3 to 5. It plays equally well with 3 to 5, I think. 2 players, it's not really. It should just say 3 to 5 on it. Anyway, Sushi Go, everyone should have it. It's cheap, it's fun, it's cute. Introduction to drafting. You should pick it up.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.